Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you like tech and helpful tips, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started.
The question of whether loot respawns in Project Zomboid is one of the most common inquiries from new and veteran survivors alike, and the answer, like much in this game, is nuanced but fundamentally leans towards no, at least not in the way many players might initially expect. By default, in a standard Project Zomboid playthrough, loot is finite. Once you've entered a building, opened a container, be it a cupboard, a fridge, a shelf, or a car trunk, and taken its contents, that container remains empty. The game remembers its state. This core design principle is critical to Project Zomboid's relentless survival loop, pushing players to constantly explore new areas, venture into more dangerous territory, and eventually consider relocating their base as local resources dwindle. This scarcity adds immense pressure and realism, making every scavenging run a calculated risk and every discovered can of food a small victory. However, the developers understand that for longer-term playthroughs, especially in multiplayer servers or extended single-player sessions, a completely finite world can eventually become barren and less engaging. This is where custom game settings come into play, offering a form of simulated loot respawn that needs careful explanation to avoid common misconceptions. If you start a custom game, you'll find a crucial setting under the Loot tab called Loot Respawn. Enabling this does not mean that the exact same kitchen cupboard you emptied yesterday will magically refill tomorrow. Instead, it works based on a concept of unseen cells. Project Zomboid's map is divided into many smaller cells. When you visit a cell, the game marks it as seen. The respawn unseen hours setting dictates how long a cell must remain unvisited or unseen for it to become eligible for new loot to spawn. So, if you enable loot respawn and set respawn unseen hours to, say, 72 in-game hours, then after 3 days of you not entering a particular map cell, that cell's loot state can be reevaluated. When you eventually re-enter that previously unseen cell, the game will re-roll the loot tables for containers within it that were either never looted or are part of the game's dynamic loot spawning system, potentially generating new items. This means you might find new items in different containers within a house you previously cleared, or perhaps in containers you thought were empty but were part of the refreshed loot generation for that cell, effectively giving you new opportunities to find supplies in previously explored areas. The respawn multiplier setting further allows you to adjust the quantity of this newly generated loot, making it more or less abundant. It's important to differentiate this from respawn seen hours, which applies to zombies, not loot. The key takeaway is that you won't see items reappear in a container you've specifically emptied and remembered, but rather, the areas themselves can be refreshed with new loot opportunities after a period of being unseen. This system effectively combats world depletion without undermining the core survival challenge of initial resource scarcity. For those who want to avoid custom settings, the primary method for finding new loot remains exploring new towns, clearing previously untouched buildings, or utilizing community-made mods that introduce various forms of dynamic loot generation or container refilling. So, while default Project Zomboid offers a truly finite world, the custom settings provide a robust and understandable mechanism to ensure your long-term survival prospects remain viable by refreshing unseen areas with new opportunities for valuable supplies. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing for more Project Zomboid tips and guides.